Hey everyone, welcome to the South Florida Breeze podcast. My name is Bryan. I have a special guest alongside of me today, the starting guard for FAU, Bryan Greenlee. Bryan, welcome to the pod.
Glad to be on here.
Yes, sir. Bryan, just tell me, how do you think FAU's overall basketball season went this year? Are you guys happy with it? What are you guys looking to improve on for the next year?
Yeah, I would say we're definitely happy with it. A lot of ups and downs. We started off all right. Towards the middle of the season, we picked it up. We was playing some real good basketball, and towards the end of the season, we didn't finish it how we wanted. But overall, I think we ended it off at a good spot where we could just kind of focus on little details instead of more of like teaching, because we got a lot of returning guys. So,
yes, sir. So I want to actually go into a little bit about your past. You're from Gainesville, Florida, am I right?
Yeah.
When did you first get into basketball? Did you play other sports as a kid? Like, when did you know basketball was going to be your one?
I probably got into basketball maybe like 5-6 years old, just like YMCA. And I played football growing up. I was definitely a multi-sport athlete. I ran track, baseball. I played a little bit of soccer when I was real young, so I did it all really. But probably around like 7th grade, I went to it was like kindergarten through 12, but it was a private school, just pretty much mainly for basketball. So around 7th grade, I would say I focused in on just basketball.
And when did you start to know that you were like, all right, I'm starting to get seriously looked at, I think I could go to college for this, I think I could really make it real big time in the sport?
Probably like my freshman year, summer. I played on the Nike circuit on the EYBL, and we were playing against a lot of top guys and just a lot of exposure, coaches, and I was getting letters from a lot of high major like D1 colleges. So it was probably around then where I was like, okay, yeah, like I could seriously play college and play professionally, hopefully.
Where do you think you would get the most exposure? Like, where do college coaches go mostly? Like high school games? Do they go to the camps, like a CP3 camp or another AAU tournament, possibly? Just where do you think you would got your most exposure at?
I would say definitely like AAU basketball, like travel basketball. There's maybe some games where it's like 50, 60 college coaches, maybe even more, just watching one game. So definitely the travel season.
For sure. I actually have a question about the rankings. So you know how we have ESPN Top 100, Top 300, and all that. How do those guys get their stars? I know you're a 3-star. How did you guys? Who determines that? Who ranks you guys? Who puts you in that position?
It's probably a whole bunch of different factors that like weigh into the rankings. But I would just say going to like camps. If you go to a lot of camps when you're younger, you'll get exposed by just recruiters and stuff like that. But if you're good, like they'll find you. So,
I heard you did make your start, your college or your collegiate start at the University of Minnesota. Congratulations, by the way. It's a big thing to get recruited by a Big Ten school.
Yeah.
How was that experience playing in the Power 5? Was it a lot different than now, or just more things around?
Yeah, it was. First off, it was fun. It was a great experience. It was a little different. I would say just probably more athletic guys, and just the pace was a little faster. But I was like in a different role there than I am here, so it just allowed me to play different when I came to FAU. But every game was live. Like every arena we went to was packed, and just the atmosphere was crazy. So definitely being part of like a Power 5 or like a high major school was good. But
going back to the rankings for just a little bit, some guys get their 5 stars. Some pan out to be who they're supposed to be, have a really good career going forward, and then some I feel just we kind of never hear from them again after that. Like I remember this kid Kyrie Walker, he was like a high star recruit, and now I don't even know where he plays at. I don't know if he's in the G League or if he's overseas right now.
Yeah.
Where do you think these guys are, like, some of those guys just get overhyped, or is it just their connections throughout the basketball community that gives them these stars sometimes, or what do you honestly think that happens?
I would say some guys are overhyped for sure, and some guys are actually good in high school, but their game just doesn't translate to college. because college, like compared to high school, is a lot different, the style of play. So I would say it's probably that, and just, I don't know, honestly.
I understand. So when these guys get to college, when they're like going through the high school process, and maybe they don't get that exposure, maybe like they're really good enough to play on the college level. How, like, why don't guys who get that exposure who really deserve it? Like, what do you think is lacking, or is it the size of their school, where they're at in the country, or what do you think that isn't, like, they're missing that the other bigger guys don't have?
Yeah, personally, like, I know a lot of guys that should have just went straight out of high school to play college, but they had to go like prep school or like JUCO or something like that. But I mean, some coaches just maybe either want like a certain player for their team and they just don't fit that role, or they're just not in the right, spot at the right time. A lot of it has to do with just being in the right spot at the right time. Like, the school you might go to is, in the building, but they might happen to just peek over and see you for a second, and then boom, like now they're recruiting you. So it's just a lot of stuff. I mean, some guys just aren't lucky, or I don't know.
What made you go in the transfer portal? What was just like, I think I have a really good opportunity at FAU. I think I could really exploit my game and get to the next level where I want to be.
I just wanted to play. My first year, I didn't play too much, and the point guard that was in front of me, he was coming back the next year. He was like, projected to be first round maybe, or at least, get drafted. So he was a great point guard. He was going to play for sure regardless of if I was there or not. So I just wanted to go somewhere I would play.
Of course. So now the rules have changed in the NCAA. You can make money now as an athlete, no matter, if you have a YouTube channel or anything like that. How do colleges still, try and, those high recruits, how are they getting all this money? I see them with the drip, all these outfits, the chains. I'm like, these guys are just in college, and I don't have YouTube channels. They're just really big names. So like, how do they get all this stuff?
I have no idea, bro, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. So what do you think moving forward with FA? What do you guys think you got to improve on the most, just like as a whole unit?
I would probably say just getting better defensively.
Absolutely. How's it for playing Coach May? He's a great guy.
Yeah, I love Coach May. Good dude.
Yeah, he's always really nice to the media. I've been in a few press conferences, and he's always answered the questions nice and respectfully. So definitely a good guy. What's your end goal with this basketball stuff? Like, what do you want to like be in the future, if depending on if this works out or not?
Yeah, I want to play professionally, honestly. Just
overseas an option?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, NBA, overseas, whatever, my journey is, or wherever the basketball takes me. I just want to play as long as I can. Play for money, obviously, and play professionally, but play as long as I can.
Do you think guys transfer schools because they're just not put in the good system, like the offensive system? Because I had a buddy, his name's Duncan DeMuth. I don't know if you know him. He played for Oklahoma State. He just transferred to Vermont a couple of years ago because I think they fit more his style and he'd get more PT. Is that like the main reason guys transfer? Is it just not a comfortable fit?
Probably each guy's situation is probably unique, but I would say the most common thing is they just don't play as much as they would like, or there's someone in front of them, or it's just a better opportunity somewhere else. But if you're good, like, you'll play. Maybe, the situation isn't best for you there, but if you go somewhere else, you'll play if you're good enough.
I have an example. Jimmy Butler, how he started kind of like, he was ranked 1,250 something I read, or like 300, and he went to a small, I think a JUCO or some kind of small school, and then eventually got up to Marquette for a year or two, and then made. Are those guys in that position? Are their futures in jeopardy? Like, are these like scouts and other like ranking people like putting their futures in jeopardy just because like they're just not getting the exposure they deserve?
What do you mean by putting their futures in jeopardy?
Like if they some say all they might have is basketball, like they want to do this for life, and like they're not putting them in a position to be successful just because of maybe my ranking or my just where it's a school I play for, like the level of competition in the state I'm in. Like does that come into effect of like putting these kids in jeopardy, even though they might be good enough to play on the D1 level, even if they're not playing like close to that level of competition?
Honestly, I feel like if you're good enough, like you'll get picked up eventually or get seen by somebody. So, I mean, as long as you could play and you got game, like you'll get found. I believe from anywhere.
Yeah. So, we'll have some fun questions here. Who's your favorite NBA player? Who were you inspired by, like growing up and now?
I've always liked Kyrie Irving. Yeah, I wouldn't say he really inspires my game or anything. I just think he's like a great player and he's fun to watch. So.
It's funny. He plays with my favorite player, Kevin Durant. I think KD's the best player in the league. We can always have a debate about that one day, but that's just my opinion. I know we got Giannis coming up and all that. Did you watch March Madness this year?
Yeah, I caught a few games.
Did you think Kansas was going to win that whole thing?
Nah, honestly. I thought UNC was going to win. I wanted them to win, at least.
Yeah, they're a good school. That Brady Manick, the beard, man. He just see a guy like him. He doesn't look too athletic, but he does so well in like the sport. Like how he just shoots. Is it just like he's a big body? Like how is he so successful?
He's a good player. He works on his game. He's super skilled and he's just a hard worker, I'm sure. We played my freshman year. We played Oklahoma. He was at Oklahoma, so I knew who he was before he was at UNC. But
who was FAU's like rival? Who like other than FIU, because we usually beat them every year as a school. But who do you love going to play against? Like, oh, I'm gonna go get me like 20 to 25 a night against this team.
I would say this season it kind of turned into Old Dominion, ODU. I wouldn't say they're our rival, but the first time we played them, we blew them out, and then they beat us bad the second time. But it was a lot of trash talk on the court and after the court even. So our main rival though is FIU.
For sure. Going back just to the recruiting thing a little bit, when you were going through it, like what were your choices? Like who were you kind of like in the beginning before you got to Minnesota? Who were those, like, you know how everyone has their top three and they pick the hats or whatever? What was that for you?
I want to say Cincinnati. See, like my recruiting process, the schools that I wanted to go to, like the opportunity kind of closed up because someone else went there or like the coaching staff changed up. So the maybe top 5 schools that I wanted to go to were Cincinnati for sure, Iowa. Minnesota didn't offer me till real late, so they were never like heavy in the recruiting process. Old Dominion, I was actually going to go to Old Dominion, but the coach that recruited me left.
Good choice.
Yeah, for sure. Georgia. Yeah, Salvir Wheeler, the dude that's at Kentucky right now, he ended up committing there. So, but yeah, I was talking to a few coaches from there, and I'm not sure who else. I had a few other schools that offered me though, but that I was serious about going to, I'm not sure.
How do you feel about when they do make coaching changes? Like, you're about to get recruited, a player's about to get recruited, about to go there, he likes to coach and everything, then they just cut him. That really affects like a recruitment process, right?
Yeah,
that's really about like. Do you think they should like make firings more during the season, like if you're already like kind of going, if you're already kind of tanking in a way, or not? You know, you're not going to reach the tournaments levels. Like, because I don't, I'd hate to see a player not get the opportunity just because of a coach. Like that, I feel like that's tough if he's really talented.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's just part of the game, really. Like,
yeah,
a player at the end of the day has to do what's best for him. So if he's like in a situation, he just wants to transfer. Like, if it's best for him, the coach and them, they'll be mad, but he has to do it. The same thing on the other end. Like, if a coach has a better opportunity, he's out quick. Like, you saw St. Peter's, they just went to the Sweet 16 or Elite 8?
Yeah, Elite 8. Now they're on the transfer
portal. And then their coach slid. So,
yeah, that's probably better opportunities for sure. And I know the NCAA is definitely a business, and you have to make money and all that, and do what's best for it. I like to see guys like under the radar just do good, like teams like us, and because I think FAU is a little under the radar right now. Yeah. I think the new conference will help. I think that'll get good. Sure. What do you think about that? Actually, being in the new conference, it starts after this year, right?
Yeah, I think it's great. It's a great change, definitely for us. Like, just the exposure we'll get. The competition is better. A lot better. Overall, I just think it's a good change. Yeah.
What's the best part about being at FAU other than just playing ball?
I would say being so close to the beach and the weather. It's pretty much always sunny, good weather, so not too much to complain about.
True. I'm glad you're here, man. I want to say thank you so much for doing this. Good luck next season. I know you guys will kill it. This is Brandon Barry on the South Florida Breeze podcast. My special guest, Bryan Greenlee. Everyone go shout him out. Go follow him on Instagram. And that's the Clues Podcast.